Yeah, I'm excited to
Me too.
finally get this recording started. But just to caveat, opinions expressed on this particular episode are our own, do
Our
not
own.
reflect past, current, or future employers. These are our opinions on how we see the world around us based on our experiences. And so I want to throw that caveat out there so people don't freak out. But
You said that much better than I was going to, so thank you.
yeah, well, I've been practicing it, and like my other videos, my based on your idea. So thank you for that technical jargon skit. And nobody knows of those other platforms that I'm at. At least I haven't been vocal about them, so I'm still gonna keep those close hold. But so, which topic do you want to get into here? So we can talk about the hopefully our future Black Hat or actually RSA talk, whether or not, the 3.5 million unfilled jobs is a myth in a world where there's a bunch of layoffs and nobody's hiring. We can talk about AI and how that is front and center in so many things in our lives. And now that I'm thinking about AI, is it snake oil or is the technology still too early? And then the last thing, influencers. I love my influencers out there. So, or any other topic you want to get into.
I don't know. I think in the conversations that we've had just outside, we could touch on all of them.
Okay.
And because they all intertwine with each other, like they all, to me, overlap. So, like you have your AI talks, which is, it's not even, you can't even call it a buzzword anymore. Like, this is what it is. This is what people are talking. This is all people are talking about. This is the only thing people are talking about. And it's no matter what topic, whether it be zero trust, whether it be a SIM, whether it be whatever other acronym is in the cyber or technology world, AI is a part of that conversation. So we could touch on that because that would be in part in the conversation of how are there so many unemployed people, but everybody's hiring, but nobody's hiring at the same time. And then we could also talk about those influencers who keep saying this is all you have to do to get a job in cyber, but nobody has a job. So I don't know. I say we spend a little bit of time talking about all of it.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's start off with AI. And I just recently read a post or a study on apparently the Census Bureau. The US Census Bureau does some research on AI, and they're indicating that there is a drop of usage of AI within, I think companies surveyed 1.2 million firms here in the US. I'm assuming it's in the US. And with firms that have more than 250 people, no small or medium-sized businesses.
Because
And
they
they're
don't know.
saying, right. So they're looking at the usage and and the reason I mentioned snake oil, they're spending a lot of money. They being Silicon Valley, maybe 4 or 5 companies that are trying to push this technology to companies to adopt it. So they're hitting the CEOs and say, look at this great thing. Like, oh, that is amazing. But what if there's no strategy? And 2, maybe it's too early. And now the novelty has worn out. And the biggest thing, there's no strategy and return on investment. If companies are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to bring in this technology to make themselves more efficient, what's happening here according to, based on what you've seen and read?
I think the misconception about AI, and I can even admit that in the beginning I had this misconception also, that it's new. It's not. AI has been around for what, since the early 50s or
But I guess this iteration of large language models is relatively new, I think. Is
that
that a
may
fair
very
statement?
well be the case, but there was some type of large language model when you do voice search within Google before it became Gemini. Um, our listening devices, and I can't say her name because she always responds when I do. My listening device has always, but she never responds when I want her to respond. I mean, that technology has been around for years. And I think the fact that now it's so forefront in your face that um, AI specialty companies or organizations or ones that do the development of the large language are pushing it to these organizations, not knowing that their staff are already using it. They're already using it. So I think, and it was probably, I don't know if it was you that said this or somebody else that I heard that if people are afraid of losing their job to AI. The only people losing their job to AI are those people that are not using it. Because you have to use it in some respect, because it really does help with making tedious jobs tasks more efficient. It's the same thing. It's Google just on speed. I mean, people used to go to Google to type in how to do this or how to search this or give me a template for this or what's the best way to word a risk acceptance statement. Now they can just go to AI and have it generated automatically. So I think the technology has always been there, but because some organizations are not doing their diligence to figure out how to best incorporate it into their organization, that's where it's like, oh my God, we still can't use this. I was somewhere over the weekend and somebody told, I can't even, and even if I knew the organization, I wouldn't say it. They said that their company blocks it. I'm like,
Wow.
people have cell phones that whatever they want to do or search, they will
Hmm.
utilize it in their personal devices. And without company structure, they're probably putting company data in there. So it's best just to incorporate a model into your user acceptance, put guardrails around it to ensure that whatever information putting in there can be limited by company policy. So I think it's just I don't think it's a new thing. I think just people are still trying to grasp how to utilize it best within their organization, and the fact that it changes so quickly, we're having a hard time keeping up.
And I think the extremes that you mentioned, right? Whether the companies are quickly adopting this technology and then firing the people, because I think there's some case studies that it might have been in call centers, right? I think that's the best business use case people have talked about. Well, now AI can easily talk to people because if you talk verbally to like I do in ChatGPT, it sounds like a person. It's kind of
Mhm.
scary. So either you have companies going to the extreme or the one like you mentioned, it's like, no, 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 this is too scary. We want to
Mhm.
protect our data. So we're not going to incorporate. But I think that's the two halves that we're currently living in. There's no middle ground
Mhm.
to say, well, let's develop a strategy. Let's really look at what is happening here. And obviously the money involved. So these companies, again, for males, are driving this adoption, and they're going to say everything they need to recoup that money. You and I don't have access to Silicon Valley where we can
Mhm.
put in money because this is all pre-IPO stuff. They've raised, I think OpenAI is the most valuable company startup ever.
Yep.
And all that money. So if you and I were in that space, we would want our money back plus tenfold, 20-fold, whatever. So now where that pressure to push this to companies so they can start adopting this, do we start running? Does ethics and morality just go out the window because money talks? I don't know.
That's normal. That's the case with anything, especially in this industry. When money is larger, money is always the biggest picture because I mean, if you take some of our famous social media platforms, it's all about um, the bottom dollar. And right now, that bottom dollar really is data. It's not even the money, it's the data that they can use to do whatever it is that companies do with data, whether it be that they sell it, whether it be they hold on to it for, you know, business purposes. But that bottom dollar is always the dollar. So I do not pay for any of my LLM models. None of them. I refuse to. Can you still see me?
Yeah,
I
keep
froze.
going. We're good.
Okay, I thought I froze. I don't pay for them. I get one of them because my company is included in, my company's one of the software that we use. But the other ones are free. And when I've reached my daily limit, I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. So even if even if the organizations aren't doing, individuals are investing their own money into it, whether it be, Copilot, ChatGPT, whatever, that money is coming back. It's because people want to be able to utilize the service to their greatest capability. And I don't think when it comes back to the organizations, it's just like any software development. Oh, our tool can do this. We can make your lives easier. You know, they push that. That's how sales engineers make their money. That's how they help with the bottom dollar of the company. But I don't think, because there are no regulations around this, if organizations don't have internal people that have I was going to say the mental capacity or the intelligence level to understand, this is unfiltered. So I'm just to help them gain a better understanding of how to use these tools in their environment. They can push all they want. Those organizations that don't want it in there are not going to put it in there until they have that better understanding. And I think if these LL companies want to infiltrate that, they have to do a better job of educating their customers or their potential customers.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Quick tangent, and I got to delete this. I don't see the time. I
It's
used to see.
14:45. How come
What do
I'm
you
seeing
see?
stuff that you can't see?
I
Right at
have
the
no
top.
idea.
I see it right at the top. 14:50 is
Oh,
where we're at.
my camera's hiding that, because in the video that I recorded, I'm looking this way because the person is there and I'm not looking straight at the camera. So, got it. So there is this company, Ethical Project. I think Ethical Project, AI Ethical Project. I'm probably butchering it. My memory is garbage. But what they're trying to do is break up Silicon Valley's ethos to go at breakneck speed, break everything and reiterate to get to a product that is viable, and then they can market it, package it, and sell it. As I mentioned before earlier, there's so much money here where you're paying some of these experts to join your company, almost like elite athlete money, right? 150 million, 250 million for a 4-year contract. It's kind of crazy. How can we stop it to say, hey, you need to consider the potential negative aspects of what this technology is bringing? But the train is going at supersonic speed. Is that just a fallacy that we can potentially stop it and say, hey, let's put guardrails? It can do X, Y, and Z. Giving a shout out to the Australians out there. So where are we? Is it a fool's errand to try to stop this supersonic train?
Absolutely. Because we're already in the mentality of, let's just build the plane while we're flying it and see what happens. And right
Yeah,
now, on this plane, the only thing we have are wheels and a possible engine. That's how fast this is going. There's
yeah,
no way to stop the progression of how fast this is moving. There's just no way, because it's developing quickly. There's so many podcasts and TED Talks and Netflix specials on the advancements of AI and how quickly it's moving. So every organization wants to, one, not be organization that adopts it, that want to utilize it in their organization, don't want to be left behind. So they're jumping on the half-ass built plane, just keep going forward. And then just like everything else, the ethics governance around it comes later. They're still not following the security or privacy by design in this. There are some people out there that are trying to do that, and hats off to them. But until until we get to a point in technology where the security aspect of anything, security, privacy aspect of anything is included at the beginning of it, we're going to continually be chasing it. And the only reason why we're chasing it is because of these two things, security and privacy. They're not included in the development of any tools. And no matter how often this is spoken about, negated, how important it is to do this, until somebody actually does it, we will be continually chasing all new technologies. There's no way that this AI train is going to stop. There's no way to slow it down. There's no way we can give it a slow crawl. It's going too fast. That what is that? Hyper speed light rail that was built in China. That's how fast
Right.
AI is going. And there's no way to catch up to it. No way.
So where do you think this ends? How do you think it ends? Right? In a massive 50, 100 train pileup? Disaster at the end? And what does that mean? Who would be most affected?
It's just like any organization that doesn't have a disaster recovery plan in place. It's like, okay, well, when something happens or when an incident happens, that's when the organizations normally be like, okay, let's get something in place. It's not going to be until some major, and I can't even say lawsuit. This would have to go up to the court level, probably not in the current administration setting, but something astronomical is going to happen. And that's when the eyes of those that do have the ability and the power to really set guardrails in place and become the voice of those that will listen. That's when after the disasters when this will get fixed, unfortunately. And it's sad that is still the case in our day and age, in this level of our technology advancement, that it's going to take a disaster for somebody to really start paying attention. Like I understand, like NIST, they're doing their frameworks, but it's a framework. It's not required. There are no policies or actual requirements about the use of AI. And now the current administration is removing all guardrails. It's a free-for-all. Do what you want.
The Wild Wild West.
The Wild Wild West. Even worse, this is like Westworld.
I love that show.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
I haven't seen, there are some issues, not to go off on a tangent. I was actually thinking about that show, but I got mad at HBO. There's some internal strife, and then they pulled it from the streaming service. So then I canceled HBO. But circling back, I think we, as a society, we think we can do a lot, but I think we have more power than we realize. And I think that comes down to, I was going to try to show you dollars, but those aren't actually a thing anymore.
They're not around anymore.
They're not around. It's zeros and ones, right? Wait a minute. I do have a dime for the kids. And this is a dime. We can fight back with our dollars, right? If companies do not buy this technology because they don't see the return on investment, don't buy it. So who's pushing for this? It's obviously the big tech firms. But at the end of the day, don't buy the technology. We control the power of the purse at the end of the day.
We do, but in contrast to that, there are those individuals that wholeheartedly will be like, you know what? I'm going to stand my ground and not go with the general consensus. But if you compare that to when there were this big boycott with certain large purchasing companies and shopping areas, and now there are some people that were like, I'm not shopping at these places anymore because they pulled all their DEI efforts. And there are some people that are like, I understand it, but if you look at it from a different lens, or whatever lens that makes you justifiably not to make the status quo decision, it almost feels like when people do or don't vote, the people who don't vote is like, well, my vote doesn't really matter. And then people that do vote, they say, every vote counts because your vote could essentially be that one that tips the scale or whatever. And I think this is along those same lines, but the tech industry is a beast. And um, what software, what platform, what development company has ever suffered because a couple of companies or individuals didn't purchase them? Most of the internal anything that happened with a software company or development or anything like that happened something internally blew up, and then the bad press is what shut them down or caused them to lose money. Um, I don't know if not to say there isn't one, but I don't know if I know of an instance where a group of individuals got together and was like, "We're boycotting you. We don't believe in this. We don't believe in your standards. We're going to not invest in it." And that caused enough of, an eyebrows raise for everybody else to be like, "Oh, maybe we should look at this." And I'm not
Yeah,
saying, I understand individuals have power but collectively in the tech industry, the tech giants normally win.
interesting. Okay, that's fair. So let's talk about my favorite people in the world, influencers. Oh my God. Um, I don't think I could get through life without talking about influencers and the love I have for them.
Is that what it is?
I think so. That's what I'm kind of framing it as. So essentially, one of the previous guests talked about how we received information from the news, and it was way before my time. Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
He's like,
Was
this
that
is,
before your time, really?
it really was. I was an idiot kid, and actually I still am, but I wouldn't be paying attention to any news back then. So he said, I think he had a particular tagline. This is how it is,
Hmm.
right? That's it. Nobody
Hmm.
questioned it. And I'm sure there was bias back then, but they tried to frame it with all the facts. Here's the facts. You decide for yourselves. But now every person, I don't know if you all can see my mic, everybody's got a microphone. And now their voice is amplified. They could spread kindness, peace, and love, or they can spread racism, whatever, on their ignorant views of society, right? Everybody has that now. So now you drill down to influencers and technology. At the end of the day, they're trying to get those clicks. They're trying to get those dopamine clicks that a lot of people don't realize how the brain works, and we
Hmm.
got to get our fix. One thing that I'm trying to do is just push content, not consume content.
Hmm.
Or if I am consuming content, I search cybersecurity and see that and say, oh, okay. So it gives me information on
What
what
you
to
want.
make,
Yeah.
right? Well, what I want and what I need to push back. But based on your experience with all these cybersecurity influencers, I wish I had a background that showed money falling. They're always talking about money, right?
Hmm.
We have to revert to that again. And how if you follow my advice, or, if I had to start all over again, I would do it this way, which is a very myopic perspective, in my opinion. But what's been your experience with influencers, specifically cybersecurity
Let's
influencers?
go past it. It's almost like if you think back in the 80s or even still today, because they still do that, exercise gurus say the best way to lose weight is to do this. The best way to gain muscle is to do this. Oh, pay for my plan and I can walk you through. You can have amazing abs and a big butt in 30 days if you do this. It's like it's the same thing. And because individuals today are so technology focused and that's where they get everything, they don't talk to people. They have no choice but to rely on the information that they're fed, which is unfortunate because instead of doing their due diligence like you and I did, we didn't have access to this. We had to pick up an encyclopedia. And for those watching who don't know what an encyclopedia is, it was a thick book that came from Britannica in sets of 20. And unless your family was rich, you had to go to the library to use it. But that's where we got our information. The Dewey Decimal System in the library and encyclopedias. We didn't, and although granted books are written by other individuals, but these individuals have been certified in their profession to provide the information that they're providing. Influencers are a profession in their own, are professional in their own mind. Like in their mind, everything they're saying is gospel, everything they're saying is true. I rely to get my information technology-wise from known sources, trusted individuals that I have proven that they know what they're talking about in their industry. And if I need to know how to reframe my email so I don't sound like a complete B, then that's what I do because it has the ability to do that. But two of the funniest videos I saw were probably yours and somebody else that put together a video said, all you have to do to become in cyber is go to school for 6 months and then you come out and get a $250,000 job. I'm like, in what planet? And it was done as a parable, like it was not true. It wasn't, it was supposed to be done as a joke. But I'm like, this is what these people are saying. And that's why people come into this industry like, oh yeah, I need a job where I'm going to, come out making $150,000 a year. I'm like, that's not going to happen. And I'm so sorry if you've been told otherwise. And this is what I tell my mentees. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, you may not even be able to get a job directly in cyber. Let's start there. When I first started, I didn't believe it was a matter of who you knew, but it actually is. It's about your network and not necessarily to help you get in the door, but to help guide you when you have questions, to help you point you in the right directions. This industry is brutal. And I've had to say such to certain individuals who try to counter that. And I'm like, and because, and it's also dependent on who you are and what you look like and your knowledge and your education behind it. And if you're a woman, if you're a minority, if you have all these other things that you're fighting up against to get into this industry, and the fact that many people are coming in here is like, cyber loves everybody. It doesn't matter. Get the certification and you can come in making $150,000. Well, you let me know how that works out for you, because that's not how it works in the world.
So what if it was 6 or 7 years ago? I think it was a little bit more easier to get into cyber because it was focused on those certifications. You had those certifications. Oh, yeah, come on in, right? Oh, you have the CISSP, which is the holy grail, which I would argue, again, my opinion, the worst test ever.
Ever.
And it doesn't really teach you anything, right? Not even the memorization. And that test is obviously different compared to SANS, where it's kind of more memorization. But I think it was different. So I consumed, and I was fortunate and lucky that my previous employer would pay for these ridiculous high-cost certifications. So I consumed them all, right? And I learned all of that and was able to kind of play it back and leverage it a little bit with my my employer in government, but then leverage it tremendously when I left government and then started working on that. But I think now maybe it's the post-COVID, maybe companies hire too much. But then back to the influencers, can a young person who is passionate have valid things to say about cybersecurity? Just kind of throwing that out there. Plain devil's advocate.
Passionate without any experience, or just passionate with experience?
Both, with and without. Hey, this is unfiltered. This is our opinions.
No. And they can be passionate. I appreciate and recognize the passion behind those that want to get into the industry. I appreciate the passion of those that are influencers really trying to uplift others. But if you're passionate about cyber and you don't know anything about it and you've never even been in a role about it, and you're trying to say, oh, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z to get in here, and this is what I did, because you're lying and you've not done anything, then no. I don't want to hear any. I don't have respect for people who talk about something that they have no knowledge about. Don't have respect for the current administration.
Hmm.
Why I have, I mean, I, even as a manager, not a manager outside of, let's say, IT or cybersecurity. When I was an IDM manager, I would hire somebody with more experience than somebody with a gazillion degrees or certifications. I did that. I feel that way. One, because it's not about me, but I put in the time and I've done almost every aspect of IT and cyber that's possible, except for coding. I don't code. That's not my thing. I don't do it.
Same.
When I was hired for my first manager's position, I had to have a master's degree. And this was at the state. This is a state position. And I got in and found out my manager, her manager, her manager, and the CTO only had high school diplomas. So I'm like, what, could you do my job? I mean, I had a degree, but I had to get a master's degree to even apply for a manager's role, which is ridiculous. So for me, I will hire somebody with experience than all the certifications in the world, because those certifications are not real world. They're in the development of the certification aspect, whether the organization that puts it on, they develop these platforms or scenarios that are not based on real world experience. An influencer who has these certifications, that's the only world they know. Everybody knows that in the event of a real incident, your IR plan goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. You
Right.
have it. You've done tabletop exercises with it. You've educated your employees. But the minute something truly happens, nobody has that out and they're not going, okay, we need to do this. We need to. Nobody's doing that. And that's the same things with these certifications. So an influencer who has great potential and a passion for the industry, God love you. Go back and read a book and go get a job in cyber.
Right.
Which is even more difficult because you can't get a job in cyber.
Well, so I'm going to push back a little bit about you need experience over the certifications, and it brings me back. I don't know why I'm thinking of this movie, Old. Secret of My Success. Secret of My Success. Michael J. Fox in
Yeah.
the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And it talked about, well, how
Great
can
movie.
I get a job if I don't have experience? So I think that still resonates with a
Mhm.
lot of folks.
Yeah.
People, they're absorbing information to say, okay, go get an education or certifications, and that's how you get into cyber. The harsh reality is that's not the case. Maybe it was a couple of years ago, but no longer. So then how do they get experience? Everybody talks about labs. The way to get into cyber is to do a lab. And I'm like, go pound sand. And I try to push back on that because so I've interviewed dozens, probably hundreds of people. I didn't look for labs. I didn't, you look at their experience. Okay, well, what have they done? Would they be able to meet and succeed these requirements? I've never had an opportunity where I was hiring an entry-level position, but I guess my question, how do they get experience if no one is hiring and labs don't count?
Labs don't count. One thing I think that works in their favor is today you can take skills that you've acquired doing pretty much anything and make it applicable to a requirement of a job. One thing that, and this, we've had this conversation before about it's all the hiring tactics for most organizations needs a great overhaul because of they're still doing the minimum 5 years requirements for the CISD as entry level. So, and we all know that's a farce. But I think it's, helping those that are trying to get into the industry utilize the experience that they do have and reworking it to their benefit to cyber. A lot of people negate or overlook their soft skills. People think that you get in cyber and you're not going to have to talk to people or you're not going to know how to have to write. And you do. So if you were a project manager for Kohl's, take those skills and, use reword it on your resume that points out or highlights something that you can do. And nowadays, um, once you get an interview, um, the whole phrase, I don't have that experience, but I'm very anxious to learn, works. So it's using, this is an old 1990s, use what you got to get what you want type thing, and use it to the benefit of both you and the organization. Again, that's a whole nother conversation about actually getting in the door, making it to the interview process, because companies are using AI to scan resumes and all that kind of stuff. Again, a whole
Yeah.
different conversation, but um, I think it's harder now to get a job in cyber. And my caveat or go-to is, as cybersecurity professionals, there's always a back door that we can crack. So even if you have to get into an organization doing something completely outside of IT or cyber, that might be the way to go, just to get your foot in the door. Because the thing is, just to get in there. The rest of it will come once you're in there. But if you're waiting for that opportunity to get that great position or get that great cyber title, or to, come in as a pen tester, you might have to consider other ways to do that. I'm not saying not to try. I'm just saying look at other options. There are other options out there that can get you the same path, just in a different way.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. So let's kind of shift a little bit from the influencers and just social media posts in general. LinkedIn, I'm kind of shying away from that because, and maybe it's the whole AI. People are posting in AI and all these elaborate posts. And is it really them? Is it a facade? Is it, I haven't done this in decades, but is it like dating where you're putting your best,
Your
your
best foot
best
forward.
foot forward, your clean image to say, look at all the great things that I'm doing in cyber. And I don't want to take away from people doing those things, but then it gets to a point where they're doing it constantly and they're putting in their posts, again, everybody, you do you, but then my question is, well, do you actually work? Are you doing? Because when I get asked locally, hey, can you participate in this? Can you participate in that? It's during the work hours. I have to take time off. And I can't just go and say, yeah, even though, I have a full-time job, which is way more than 40 hours a week. So how are people doing that? And is it more, I guess, just trying to get those likes, trying to make it show that they're doing more than they are doing? I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling.
I've worked really hard to take people at face value. I too have wondered, is like, when the hell do you work? Like, you're everywhere, all the time, all at once. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do how do you get away with that, with being in a higher position in your organization, or in any position in your organization? Especially now that, I've had to take, there's been some changes, where I'm not able to participate in many conferences as I used to. I am trying to assume the best in people, and assume that not everything I see is AI generated. But then again, I am at the point now where I'm running my own race. If I see your post and I'm like, okay, I'm not contributing to the madness, I'm not going to comment, I'm not going to like, I'm not going to do anything, because I'm just, I'm,
You're
like, it's
past it.
exhausting. It takes me 2 weeks after a conference to post, and that's only because I have people in my life that force me to do it.
Me?
And I'm like, and it's not because I don't want to share, but it's like, um, do I really want to take that time out of my life to write this long gated post to say that I've done this? And mind you, like, I was just at a conference and I ran into somebody from Colorado. I was like, oh my God, this is like the best thing. It was like a taste of home, but I
Yeah.
don't need to post about that because that's mine. Um, if somebody mentions me in a post, I thank them, I try and encourage them, but I am to the point now where I don't have the capacity to wonder why people move the way that they move, especially in today's AI filtered likes, posting. I'm out here for likes and nothing else, and what I'm saying is falsettos. I don't have the energy for it. Like, you continue to do you, because whether you're real or not is going to come back on you. Now, for those people that I know that are putting out true content that, again, that I have relationships with um, that I know have something valid to say, I will acknowledge those and engage with those. But other than that, I don't have
Mm,
time for you. I
yeah.
don't have time for, I ain't got time for it.
I don't got time for that meme from that lady. She's got bronchitis, right? But I think the magic of what you just said is time.
Mhm.
And, everybody, building your personal brand, I kind of believe in that. But then now I think maybe just because of AI, it's like, well, is it really you? And you could use AI to make your work more efficient, but don't let it generate everything for you. So people are doing these graphics, these what they call AI slop. Um, they're transforming into superheroes and this and that, and
Yeah.
that just turns me off completely. And that's why I've been doing more videos on LinkedIn to show this ugly mug and just whatever's on my mind based on podcasts, books I've been reading, and say, hey, have you thought about X, Y, and Z? And trying to be a little bit more authentic and off the
Mhm.
cuff as opposed to a script, even though that other funny video that I posted took me like 20 minutes. I did ask AI, come up with a funny script. It refused. It did not know. I'm like, that's not funny. Give me a script word for word. It could not generate. I'm like, you know what?
Really?
Never mind. Yes, I was a little disappointed. It was what, ChatGPT 5.0 or 10, whatever version they're at. And it
To
didn't
show
come
you
up.
the flaws in it, though.
There
See?
you go. So then maybe it just doesn't provide comedic value. Maybe it just regurgitates facts or things that
It's not a
resemble
human.
facts.
It doesn't know comedy.
But I thought it consumed all of that
It does,
content.
but so, like, I was meant to ask a question, and I'm trying, like, I've seen posts where, like, "Do you say please and thank you to your ChatGPT?" I don't even name it, like, it's
Hmm.
ChatGPT, it does not have a name. So when I go out there and ask the question, I started being, "Hi, how are you doing?" And it comes back and like, "Hi, how's your day? Da 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 da," and all this, and I'm like, so I'll start engaging in a conversation, and I'll say something, and then I'll do LOL after it. It knows that, but to actually understand what funny is, or where humor comes from. It doesn't understand that yet.
Hmm.
And remember, it's ingesting all types of things that all individuals consider humor.
Yeah.
One person's humor may be somebody else's. What the hell did you just say to me?
Yeah.
GPT.
Right.
um, so it's yeah, you know me, I'm all about authenticity,
Yeah, you
and
are.
I I just don't have, and those people that, are able to do all these long contents, it's like, oh, so, okay, so you're doing this during work hours, or you're staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning to do it. Either way, your time is not best utilized because you're running on fumes, you're not getting your work done, and I could be completely wrong. Again, my opinion. My perception is you have 8 hours in the day. You sleep for 6 to 8 of those. You are supposed to be working for 8 of those. So you have a whole nother 8 hours. And if you have a family, if other another job, all these other things that come in that take up the rest of your day, when are you finding time to do this? And my time is too valuable to spend generating even a 2 sentence post. Like, I
Yeah. No,
can't
that's
do
fair.
it. I don't have time for it. I don't have time. And when I make time, it's when I'm watching a football game on Sunday, and then I get distracted and then it doesn't happen.
Mm. Yeah. I've gained my time back from that sport. Me and my kids are going into the Premier League. Well, not actually
Thanks.
going in.
Congratulations.
So randomness, we're like, hey, we started watching that, like 3 weeks ago. They're like, oh, whatever team scores first, we're going to root for them. And we ended picking Liverpool, which is like the champions of last year. Like, oh, man. So I don't know if we're going to be disappointed, but they're 5-0. So
Look at
things
that.
are,
See?
yeah, they're 5-0
No, but
this
I'm talking
season.
about American football. I'm not talking about soccer.
Yeah. I know. But I've given up American football
I know.
for quite some time there.
I'm hoping that somewhere along the line you find that there are some good people. Sports are okay. There's nothing to do. You don't have to think about it. It's just a time to let your brain decompress. And that's what I use sports for. It's better than trash TV.
True. That's true. Or trash social media,
Or
right?
trash social media.
So I know we're coming up on time or way past time, but any other topic you want to dive in head first that we haven't talked about?
We'll save those for another podcast.
or kind of off the
offline,
recording, offline.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Quintana, this was awesome.
Yes, thank you.
You were supposed to be my first fireside chat. That didn't happen because you dragged your feet. So you're going to be second. So yes.
I don't think I dragged my feet, but okay.
But yeah, again, I love this conversation. I love your authenticity. And yeah, let's keep on doing this moving forward.
Absolutely. You keep up your great work, sir. It's not going unrecognized. I'll give you 1 of your 2 likes on your video.
Thank you.